Abyss Center, because it's now ours, because we're here. We're taking over. Woo!
That's not real.
So without any further ado, let's please give a wholehearted welcome to the team behind.
You gotta have balls to be here, that's what I'm talking about.
Big
you know
balls.
what I'm saying?
Look at him. Get a shot at his ball.
So many
Big
different colors, so many different balls, you know? Never seen that variation of balls.
The collection of the finest balls in all of LA.
Into the Abyss.
What's up, guys? My name is Rick.
And my name is Ian, and we are so excited to be here.
We are super stoked, and I bet you guys are all very curious to know what the next 30 minutes are about to be about.
Yeah, but more importantly, I bet you guys are wondering just who we are.
Why don't we go ahead and roll it?
Who has 8 million YouTube subscribers? Who has over 6 million Instagram followers? And who holds the Guinness World Record of longest stare into a camera? Rick and Ian of Into the Abyss. Rick and Ian have dedicated all of their show to investigating the supernatural and also shaming non-vegans.
You eat meat, you're
Rick and Ian also have a #1 hit single entitled Abysmal Sweetness that topped the charts and made Kanye West say, "Dang, that's legit."
Abysmal sweetness. Abysmal sweetness.
Having already been nominated for 3 Golden Globes for his Emmy Award-winning series, Dr. Rick, Rick Dennis has also been given the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in Peru, remasculating endangered albino rhinos, the albinos. Ian has received acclaim for his charity work around the world, putting injured snakes in homeless shelters. And both have been on the cover of Time magazine twice. They're Rick and Ian of Into the Abyss.
All right. That was very revealing.
Yeah, I gotta say, I actually have never been on the cover of Time magazine.
He hasn't, and I unfortunately have never met an albino or been to Peru.
That was very much so a fake introduction video, but that's actually what we discuss on our YouTube channel, is whether or not something is real or fake.
So let's go ahead and roll our real introductory video.
Woo!
Hey guys, this is Rick.
And this is Ian here, and we're back with another episode of
Into the Abyss. We're gonna be uploading the creepiest of stories. The Rake,
The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Black-Eyed Children,
Skinwalkers.
we're gonna be reviewing multiple urban legends and conspiracies. Akamoto. The infamous El Kukui.
Bigfoot.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Zombie. Ooh, that was freaky. Check it out.
Bloody Mary. Drinking mix, Bloody Mary, blood.
So we are going to bring you what's out there.
And tell you what we think. Real?
Or fake. Whoa!
That's a little better.
So, what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss a topic, and I don't know if you guys could tell, we're at a horror convention, so it's going to be spooky.
Extra spooky. And within the topic, we're going to have 3 subjects, and at the end of the show, we're going to have you guys vote on whether or not you think they're real or fake.
So, you guys ready?
I think they're ready. Let's do it.
All right. We're going to delve right into the world of classic curses. Rick, what are some of your favorite curses?
Oh, that's easy. F word, the A word, B word's a gray one.
Okay, clearly you know I'm talking about obscenities. Not talking about obscenities.
I know. I just wanted the audience to know my favorite curse words, like the C word.
A curse, by Webster's definition, is a solemn utterance intended to invoke a supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment upon someone or something. So we've narrowed it down into 3 main categories.
First is the curse of the blood. In this category, we have 2 heavy hitters of horror: vampires, werewolves.
Next is the cursed object. In this category, there can be an infinite number of cursed items, but we've narrowed it down to the popular ones: Ouija boards and creepy dolls.
Last but certainly not least, we have the curse of the immortals, those who've escaped death and probably more than once. In this category, we also have 2 titans of terror: Frankenstein's monster and the mummy.
So when we're finished, we're going to see what you guys think about each one. But for now, let's get started with vampires.
Ooh, vampires. Now, how many of you guys out there enjoy the taste of blood? That's really weird.
That's kinda
well,
hot.
depending on how rare you like your steak, there may not be much that separates y'all from a vampire.
What is a vampire? Well, their main characteristic is that they're dead people that drink human blood. They have sharp fangs they use to puncture the throat of their victims and drink of their life-giving fluids.
Another interesting characteristic about them is that they cannot go into the sunlight. If sunlight touches them, they could die or be severely weakened, so good luck surviving in California.
We all know the characteristics of vampires, right? Anyone know some? Shout them out.
Anybody? Yeah?
Yeah, you're right. They hate garlic, they sleep in coffins, they show no reflection, cast no shadow. They must be invited into a house before entering, and some of them can morph into bats and others into wolves.
And what about ways to kill them? Obviously, we covered sunlight, but we got good old holy water. You can stake to the heart. You can make them drink the blood of the deceased. You can shoot them with a silver bullet if you got good enough aim. You can decapitate them and burn their body. Or, and this is probably the most brutal, you can have them listen to any Justin Bieber song for longer than 15 seconds.
Oh. So where did these creatures
Brutal.
come from? When did we first hear of the vampire? Does anyone know who the first vampire was?
Nosferatu, I think.
That was good. That was close.
Vlad the Impaler? Oh, surprisingly, it was not Vlad the Impaler. It was actually a young Italian boy by the name of Ambrosio. And to help illustrate this story, we brought the help of some sock puppets.
This is the story of two smoking hot lovers. Ambrosio, Celine's getting dressed.
And Celine. Now, Celine and Ambrosio fell in love in the temple of Apollo, the
hey.
sun god.
Hey, what's up?
Chase me!
Oh, okay.
This was awesome. The only problem was that Apollo had a crush on young Celine and hated Ambrosio. So he cursed Ambrosio to never walk in the sun again.
No!
Never again.
No! My love! Ambrosio was so desperate to get Celine back that he went to Hades, the god of the underworld. I need your help. Well, if you want to help, you'll have to steal Artemis's silver bow. That one.
Now, long story short, he tricks Artemis and steals her silver bow.
What's that?
And is cursed to never touch silver again.
Never again! Right as Ambrosio is about to give up getting Celine back, Artemis lets her go.
My love,
My love?
my love,
My love!
chase me like I used to.
Artemis promises them both eternal life if he kills her with his bite.
It's not so bad. And thus, the vampire was born.
Thank you, thank you. Now, since Ambrosio, there have been many takes on the vampire.
Most notably, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
The characteristics of vampires remain the same throughout lore and on camera.
What changes is in their depiction, whether it's something supernatural or something more scientific.
Hence why this is a curse of the blood. It can be a curse given by Satan, a never-ending thirst for the blood of others, or something more bacterial, like spit transferred in a high school hallway.
I remember those days. Now, there is no legitimate connection between these vampires and the vampires of the stories, but, you know, that doesn't mean that they're not real.
So there are many types of vampires that could potentially puncture your throat, or at least stand awkwardly in front of a hot topic, including vampires like this.
Ooh.
But if that's you as a vampire, then this might be your Freddy Krueger.
Ho-ho, now that is scary for many, many different reasons.
You're telling me. On to the next curse, werewolves.
Werewolves! Now, a werewolf can be a man or a woman who exhibits super heightened senses, superhuman strength, and the ability to shapeshift, whether it be a full-on transformation or something more wolf-human hybrid-like.
You may think you're turning into a werewolf because you forgot to shave or because you prefer to pee outside versus inside the house, like this guy.
Ooh, gotcha.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the only way to truly be transformed into a werewolf is to be bitten or scratched by one.
There are many accounts of man to beast in mythology, but the most popular is the werewolf, which also comes from Greek mythology. Where are the socks for this one?
I didn't realize we were actually going to use those.
Yeah. All right, just throw down a beat. Yeah, that's good. There once was a boy, and he called himself Lycan. He made a meal for Zeus that he was not Lycan. Zeus got quick and scary, turned the boy hairy, not the boy. Every full moon he gets a little frightening.
Ooh, man, and I thought he did lightning.
Oh!
Beep, 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 beep. So, we like to have fun. There are 3 types of werewolves in film that you'll see. The first being the better known, the shapeshifter. Now this one is born with the ability to transform, Anger in a dire situation will also bring about his transformation.
Next is the hybrid. The hybrid stands on two hind legs and has fur covering its entire body, as well as claws and fangs. Think more wolfman rather than wolf. The general consensus on this version is that the transformation occurs on nights with a full moon at first.
The transformation then occurs more and more often, resulting in a full-on wolfman with no way to turn back.
The final transformation is known as the true werewolf. This transformation also occurs on nights with a full moon. The human transforms into a full-blown wolf and is unable to control his or herself. When the sun rises, the afflicted return to their human form, with no recollection of the events that transpired.
Now, if we're talking literal sense, there is a condition known as hypertrichosis, aka the Wolfman syndrome, which is an extremely rare medical condition, but it can affect both sexes.
There are many types of hypertrichosis. The thing they all have in common is abnormal hair growth on a part of one's body or all over.
Not too much is known about the condition itself, but what is known is that whatever gene caused extensive hair growth in early human beings has apparently been turned on for these unfortunate individuals.
There is no cure for this condition. The only way to cope is with a razor or a laser.
Now, werewolves have long been a part of the culture of horror, and is one of the world's oldest believed curses. Now, let's take a look at this!
Werewolf?
Oh, no, that's Max. I don't know how that got up there, actually.
Alright, well, we're gonna come back to this and see whether or not you guys think werewolves are real or fake, and also whether Max the dog is a vampire, werewolf, or cat. For now, moving on. You guys must be wondering, what is a cursed object? Well, a cursed object can be many things. A cursed car, house, toothbrush, literally anything can be cursed.
Voting polls. But today, we're going to be talking about two specially cursed items. The first being the Ouija board, aka the talking board or spirit board. Now, the board has all the essentials, being 0 through 9, the alphabet, hello, yes, and no. Some boards may vary in patterns and designs, but all are pretty standard.
The Ouija board was introduced by businessman Elijah Bond on July 1st, 1890. It was invented as a fun parlor game. The original idea was not intended for what it has now become.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. The board was first popularized for its spiritual connection by spiritualist Pearl Coran. Reports claim that she used the board to contact the dead during World War I. Now, spiritualists have long believed that the dead could use a variety of tools to communicate with us living, but the talking board is considered one of the best.
The Ouija board is said to be able to conjure demonic spirits and forces. These spirits and forces are said to be able to inhabit a human host for a short time and control them, sometimes leaving a piece of themselves with the human host. It is important to follow these simple rules in order to avoid being possessed.
1. Always protect oneself. This means to cast holy light or a protective spell can work as well. 2. Never contact a spirit alone. Now that's pretty self-explanatory. And 3, and this is probably the most important of all of them, always say goodbye. No matter what may be happening, always make sure to say goodbye.
That's really important. We all know how Ouija boards work here, right? Does anyone not know? Spirit, planchette, words? You got it now. Scientists believe that the movements seen during a seance are due to the subconscious movements from the user or users. This is known as the ideomotor effect.
The actions then occur because of the preconception or the expectations given. When you and your friends use a Ouija board, you might expect to get contact from a spirit. That expectation then moves down your arm, into your hand, and subconsciously results in the answer or letter that you guys were expecting.
We're not saying that a spirit isn't trying to communicate with you, but the subconscious is an amazing thing.
Truly. Now, an original Ouija board is next to impossible to find, but luckily for you guys, we brought one.
Yeah, you can't find this anywhere but here, people.
This baby is truly one of a kind, and it is in pristine condition.
Yeah, this thing is valued at about $8 mil, so don't even think about trying to buy it unless you want to.
Not unless you got the cash on hand. Moving on.
All right, moving on. Now, who here has a family member that collects creepy dolls?
How many of you guys have had a family member spiritually possess that doll?
That was less people.
Well, if you couldn't guess, this next category is going to be about cursed dolls. Now, not to discriminate, a possessed doll can be, and is not limited to, an action figure, a stuffed animal, a handmade doll, or any doll-like figurine that you can muster up.
The first report of a possessed doll comes from ancient Egypt. Enemies of the pharaoh, Ramses III, fashioned dolls in his likeness to bring about his death. These dolls were used in many spells and rituals and were said to be living. Anyone who bore resemblance to these dolls was cursed.
The Egyptian used dolls to show connections between the gods and the goddesses. Egyptian priests and magicians would use dolls to conduct healing rituals or removal of bad entities. They would also use these dolls to put curses on people who defied the gods or the pharaoh.
So what are some real examples of cursed dolls? Well, there are two that stand out, or stand up. First is Robert the Doll, and second is the well-known Annabelle.
Now, Robert the Doll was a doll designed by the Steifen Company and belonged to a man named Otto, who lived in Germany. Now, as legend has it, Otto received the doll from a young Bohemian girl as a gift, or more like punishment for crimes against her. When Otto died in 1974, the house went up for sale and the doll went along with it, and now resides in a museum.
The doll is said to have supernatural powers that either cause tragedies or inspire them. Following the doll is a trail of broken bones, car crashes, family quarrels, job loss, death, and diarrhea.
Oh, that last one, though. Now, Annabelle's great, and I know there have been many variations of possessed dolls in film, but I think we can all agree on our favorite. That's right, the infamous Charles Lee Ray, who inhabits the body of a good guy doll. He does so by using voodoo magic after being shot in a toy store.
There have been many incarnations of Chucky, as we have seen in Child's Play 1 through 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, and of course my all-time favorite, Child's Play 8. How many more ways can you possibly kill a doll?
You know, I actually saw that one, and there turns out there are no more ways to do that.
Really?
But go ahead and stuff that in the back of your mind and save that for bedtime, because we're moving on to... The Curse of the Immortals.
Creatures, humans, beings, gifted with eternal life.
Now, to some, this may not be a curse at all, but more like a superpower. I mean, not worrying about having to die sounds pretty great, am I right?
Well, maybe. Our next legend is brought to us by someone who may have a different opinion.
Mary Shelley was a famous English novelist who was best known for her book, Frankenstein, aka The Modern Prometheus, which she wrote in 1818.
Now we go back to good old Greek mythology to help us illustrate the story of Frankenstein's monster. Prometheus was a titan that created mankind out of clay and stole fire from the gods in order to help progress mankind.
Now, similarly, the Doctor defies science and logic to give his jigsaw creation life by harnessing lightning or fire in the sky.
The book depicts the struggle the creature must go through after being given a second life, as well as being a newly created monster.
Now, one of the reasons we made this category is to help show the complexities of some curses. In the case of the Doctor, his curse was his passion, his immortal desire to be reanimated into a piece of his work.
In the case of the monster, living a second time reaps no reward, but rather pain and torment.
Now, there have been many crazy stories out there, but I bet you didn't know some of the real crazy stories about
Ooh, I didn't know we were gonna talk about this.
experimentation that's already happened with reanimation in the past.
In the 1930s, a man named Sergei Bryukhanenko decapitated dogs and connected them to a heart-lung machine. These experiments were well documented and yielded some successful results. The heads were able to eat and drink. Yuck!
That's gnarly. But you think that's gross. Let me do you one better. Vladimir Demikov was a brilliant, yet insane man. He created his first artificial heart, which kept a dog alive for 5.5 hours in 1937. In 1946, he conducted the first heart and lung transplant on a dog, and this one's probably the hardest to look at. He conducted the world's first double-headed transplant on a dog in 1954.
He amputated the dog from the forelimbs down and connected it with a larger dog at the neck. These dogs lived for 4 days. He attempted this experiment 23 times, one of which the dogs lived for 29 days.
Now, there are many theories out there on how reanimation could actually work, but again, they're just that, theories.
The story of Frankenstein depicts poses the question of whether or not it's possible to come back from the far reaches of death, and would it be possible to be yourself again?
You know, our next creature might actually claim that. The infamous Imhotep from the 1932 film The Mummy is resurrected using an ancient Egyptian scroll known as the Scroll of Thoth.
This curse concept is utilized in many stories and movies. Someone reads from a book or opens a sarcophagus and boom! An ancient spirit is reborn into its body or someone else's.
The only thing that doesn't change is the curse that comes along with it. No, not the locusts. Definitely not the flies. Oh, no, definitely not Nickelback. No, the curse of the immortal.
In the 1932 film The Mummy, Imhotep lives again, only to find he's missing one thing in his new life: love.
That's harsh. Now, the closest thing that we could find to a real-life mummy, and this is a very bizarre case, is the case of Dorothy Edney.
Dorothy was born in 1904 in England. In her mid-20s, she began conveying a great understanding of Egyptian culture after her visit to the Temple of Seti in Egypt.
She not only claimed that she experienced the temple, but that she had lived it in the form of an Egyptian princess from 1290 BC.
This may sound like the ravings of a mad woman, But the crazy thing is the people of the time actually believed a spirit was communicating with hers.
2 British archaeologists put her claims to the test by having her read a wall of hieroglyphics that had recently been discovered, with no previous translations or text published anywhere.
She was questioned about what the discovery made in that region, and she answered with great detail about what they found.
So, does this beg the question that mummies are real? Or that we can travel space and time by simply wishing it up? Or that we can inhabit other souls by inviting them in?
There seems to be a running theme with these curses. It seems that there's always a battle for our souls.
With the werewolves and the vampires, it seems that there are 2 versions of ourselves that are constantly at war with each other. A dark, bloodthirsty version that's brooding and bloodthirsty.
And then a tame, sensible version that tries to be better. And as for the cursed objects, it seems that our souls are just untainted husks, waiting to be filled with the nearest evil. Like demons are popping out of every corner.
And with the reanimated monster and the immortal king, 2 living creatures who have once died and were thrust back into a new world. A new world with new problems and old souls with the very same problems as before.
These stories beg the question, is death the end or something else entirely?
You know, maybe humanity's greatest curse is a simple curse of not knowing.
Maybe mankind's greatest curse is not being able to understand.
Well, let's vote!
Woo! Let's vote! And hold on one sec, we need to check on time, make sure we have time to play a game. We might be running over. Hold on one sec. Woo! Woo! Never mind, we're gonna play a little game. Alright, so Rick is gonna go grab a fan, and that fan's gonna come on stage. We're gonna turn them around so they can't see what we're asking the audience or what they're answering for. So we're gonna poll the audience and see what they vote for each category, if it's real or fake. Alright? And so this lucky fan, after they're done voting and have said whether it's real or fake for each one, we're gonna have you vote and see if you can guess what the audience guessed for each category. You got it? Oh, thank you so much.
What's your name, good sir?
Justin.
Justin, where are you from, Justin?
Moore Park.
Moore Park. Well, good to have you here. I hope you're good and spooked.
Oh,
Now, you are clear on the rules, right? Okay. We're gonna have you turn around so you can't see what they're talking about. Now, you guys are all clear out there, right? No noises? Gotcha.
Nice. So raise your hands, no shouting, all right? So we don't want him to know, all right? So here we go. Let's start with the first category, vampires. All right, raise your hands if you think that vampires are real. Ooh, oh, it's kind of a close one, but I'm not sure. All right, we got that one. Next category, werewolves. Raise your hands if you think it's real. All right. Okay. Next category, Ouija board. Oh, okay. Nice. All right, next category. Are those real? Okay. Next one. Is that real? Ooh. All right. And what's next? All right. Tell me about that one. Is it real? Show of hands. Any hands? Oh, we got a ton / maybe not. I don't know. All right. So that is all for the audience. Now we're going to poll him, or just ask him, and see if they match it. If he gets 4 out of 6 right, he's going to win a prize. All right. So starting again from the top. Read it off.
What do you think the audience said for vampires? Real or fake? Bing, bing!
Fake.
Bing, 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 you got it right. Next is werewolves. What do you think the audience thought about werewolves? Real or fake?
Knowing this audience, real.
Good try, though. Ouija boards. What do you think they said about Ouija boards?
Real?
Real? Bing! Alright, what about good old cursed dolls?
Real.
Ding! Frankenstein.
Fake.
Fake. Alright, what do you think about the mummy? I'll give you your final answer right here.
Real.
Alright, I'll tell you that last one you got wrong. So if you got Frankenstein right, you still win the prize. So, with no further ado, he did get it right, so he wins.
Whoa! What the heck?
Go ahead and tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, we already told you this is about 8 mils, so I mean, this guy's rich.
Yeah, we're willing to give it away for free, so.
Yeah,
Because
thank
we
you,
love
man.
you guys.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for staying out there and listening to what we got to say. Thank you, ScareLA, for letting us come out here and do our thing.
You guys are awesome, extra spooky. So if you guys would please keep looking out.
And we'll keep looking in.
To the abyss.
Thank you guys, we love you.